Today we'll see how a custom pergola adds character and curb appeal to the front of our house.
We'll modify the base of our stairway to get better circulation on the first floor.
And look at this, no more trip point out here in the foyer. So patch the wood and that's all set to go. That's a nice piece of work, Tom.
Thanks, Joe.
And in the basement, we'll put down a click-together laminate floor that looks like real wood. One of the primary goals of this renovation was to change the facade of the house. And now that we've done it, it is time to start dressing up the front yard. It started with a Pennsylvania field stone walk that Roger and his guys put in. And then we've got all of this plant material. This is all going in today. And one of the signature features in the front yard is the pergola, brought to us by Mark Bushway.
Hey, Kevin.
Mark, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So we've got, what, 6 posts going towards the house?
We do. This is an entry pergola, so we actually have our 8x8 columns that are going to support these big, heavy beams that are going to ride on top of that. They're going to tie right back into the house. That'll lead you to the street. Then we also have a couple of heavy beams that are going to travel from this column out to these posts. We've got one more post to set here, and that'll bring you out to the driveway.
Now, it is all PVC, so we're talking maintenance-free here.
It is. It's great. It's solid cellular vinyl. One of the challenges that we have as a pergola contractor is really educating the consumer about the differences between extruded vinyl and cellular vinyl. And that's why I brought a couple of samples here.
All right.
That's a piece of extruded vinyl, which is the hollow, shiny vinyl, which you see, it is maintenance-free, but it doesn't really look and feel like wood.
Doesn't look anything like wood, actually.
Take this sample now, which is solid cellular vinyl, and you can see, first off, it's all solid.
So this is a solid piece right here.
This is a solid piece. Our backing rails, which carry the weight of the fence, have to be reinforced with an aluminum structure in there, because this is actually heavier than wood.
Solid all the way throughout. And you guys are actually milling this with the same router bits that you guys use with wood.
Because it's solid, we can actually use a lot of the same fasteners, a lot of the same molders and routers that we were doing with wood.
All right, so now, if you're supporting a small rail like that with a channel inside, you've got to be doing something to be supporting a huge structure like this.
Exactly. And here's how we're doing it. Here's one of our 8x8 columns, the last one to go in. As you can see, there's 2.5-inch outside diameter galvanized pipe that travels the entire length of this column. And what we've done is, at the other end, we've put a steel plate up here.
So on the top of this, we've got a plate, and this is going to carry the weight, actually transfer the weight from the top, the beam, all the way down.
Exactly. And then we've got a threaded rod in here, which will travel up inside of our horizontal beam, which is also reinforced the same way.
You brought us a sample of a beam right here, so you can see the profile looks like wood, as if it's been milled up.
It does. It's heavy, as you can see.
I can feel that.
And to support the structure, we've got an aluminum channel in here, which will carry the weight.
So we really got 2 pergolas in one made out of aluminum and one wrapped in PVC.
Exactly. The PVC is really just there for the aesthetics.
So we've got to get this guy in right now. A few weeks ago, you guys poured footings. You left a PVC hole right through the middle.
We did. We actually have all of our posts that are sitting on a concrete sonotube with a PVC sleeve inside of there. Now what we're going to do, Kevin, is we're actually going to take a thin set sand mix concrete. We're going to put it inside of our PVC sleeve, which will accept that galvanized pipe. So what we'll do is get that sand mix right to the top of the PVC sleeve, so that when we drop our steel post in there, it is hollow, so that concrete will travel all the way up inside of this post.
Fill the post and actually wrap all the way around it. That's going to really lock it together.
It will. You ready to go?
I am. Yep.
Okay.
I'll get the bottom.
Okay, I'll get the top. We'll guide it right into that sleeve. Wiggle it right down into the concrete.
Roger was kind enough to cut out a piece of that field stone.
And as you notice, we can actually backfill our dirt right up against that PVC post.
All right, so no rot.
That's right.
Last column in place, and now you guys got some beams to do.
We do. Nearly an 18-footer is going to go over these first 3 columns. So check back with us later.
We will. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, Kevin.
There have been some significant changes to the front foyer, and one of them is that there used to be a built-in bookcase up against this stair. Well, that's gone, and you can actually see the remnants of where the bookcase used to be down here on this first step. Now, with it gone and the hallway much bigger now, the homeowners are concerned that this turnout becomes a trip point. So what we've got to do actually is make this first step smaller, and from the left here, we'll bring it in about 12 inches, right, Tom?
That's right. And this side here, we're going to shorten about 6 inches. So we're going to change this single radius right here to 2 smaller radii with a straight end on the stair tread.
So first step, smaller and a different shape.
Right.
How do we do that?
Well, let me show you. I pull the nails on this lower tread, get it out of the way, and now you can see what's going on down here. This piece of 3/4 inch that goes around this radius actually has the profile of this scotia routed right into it, and that allows you to make this curved scotia. Now right here at the top and at the bottom, there's 2 pieces of structure that's cut on a radius also that holds the riser into position. To bend the 3/4 inch riser, you have to make a series of kerf cuts in the riser. All right, I've ripped down a strip of plywood for our riser.
So the riser is going to be curved on this end, have a straight part, and then be curved back here on this end, just like the old one.
Right.
You've also got 4 pieces of structure that you've got to cut because it's going to hold the riser in place.
Right, and I'm actually going to cut them out of here. Now we have a different radius to deal with, and it's this right here.
So that is a slight change from what we have, but same idea.
Right, so the next thing I want to do is cut 4 pieces this length. Now I want to rough cut the 2 outside corners. And finish it off with the router. Okay, now the end of the tread and the end of the riser on both sides of the stairway are going to stick out about 6 inches past the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark about 6 inches right there. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to mark the length of the riser that's going to wrap around this structure.
Because the riser is going to wrap around all 3 sides of this structure.
Right. Now what I want to do is, here's my line that I just drew. I'm just going to transfer it to the other side. Now to get the length of my riser, I'm going to take the board and put it on the line, overhanging it right there, and I'm going to mark the beginning of my first kerf cut where I'm going to run a series of notches.
So you're only going to kerf in the middle of this part of the riser, not the whole thing.
Well, I'm not going to bend the whole thing, all right? Now there's the end of the first one, so there'll be a lot of kerf cuts there. Now the second one right here, the first one, and the end one, again, series of kerf cuts, and the length is right there. Okay, so now I'm transferring the kerf cut marks to both pieces. And the next thing I want to do is I want to actually put a rabbet cut in the edge of each piece, one down 1.5 inches, 3/8 of an inch deep, and another one up 3/4 and 3/8 of an inch deep. Okay, and I'm going to do that in each piece on the table saw. And that rabbet cut is actually a shelf that will accept the structure to hold the riser on a curve. So now what I'm doing is I'm ready to cut my kerf cuts, and I want to space them equally. So I made a little jig up on my saw and a guide right here that the first kerf will drop on, and that will space them out evenly. Now we're ready to bend the riser around the structure. Now I'll pin it, and I'll fold it down. Now the other side. You got it there?
Yep.
Okay, now we'll do the other side. Okay, there's one.
Let's get the other one.
All right, Kevin, let's see how they fit. Now what I did is I put a piece of 3/4 inch plywood on top of the riser on each end. We're going to have to remove that when we're ready to put the molding on. So we'll just put them on the end. Now what I need to do is get a straight edge. What we want to do is lay that on top of the stringers. Now we need to screw this down so we can get the right elevation for our ends. Okay, now we want to set the other turnout, and to do that first I've got a riser that goes across the front of the stringers, and I've rabbited out each end so they'll overlap. All right, and now the other end. Push it up tight, just like that, and it looks pretty good. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to put that screw in right there to pull that up where it goes. Okay, now shim that up. Okay, now drive the other shim on top. Nice and easy. You don't want to rise it up too much. All right, that's pretty good right there.
Now with another template, we're going to route out for the curved cove molding. Now we just cut it in half to get two ends.
Now for the piece of scotia across the front.
Good here.
Now we're ready to cut our stair tread. I'm going to cut the piece a little longer and a little wider using my jigsaw. And now I'm going to true it up with my router. With a round over bit, I'm going to nose the edge of the stair. All right, let's see how we did.
Got a dado right there to slide into.
It's going to fit right there. Good.
All right, and then we're going to cover these up.
I'm going to make a newel post for here and another newel post for here.
All right, and look at this. No more trip point out here in the foyer. So patch the wood, and that's all set to go. That's a nice piece of work, Tom.
Thanks, Joe.
One of our first projects here was to remove an old, unhealthy Norway maple that was wrapped up in the wires. And the great thing is that with that gone, we can pick out just the right tree for our site. And when it comes to picking out trees, we always look for help from our nurseryman, Peter Mezitt. What do you got for us, Peter?
Roger, one of my favorite trees of all time. It's a Stewardia. It's a beautiful key focal point plant. It flowers profusely in late spring, and it has these white flowers with a yellow center that when they fall, they form a carpet. They all land face up on the ground. And another thing that's great about the Stewardia is this bark. You can see it's starting to exfoliate now, and over time, it turns into tans, browns, and greens. It really looks camouflage.
Now, this particular tree was grown out in a field. You came in with a mechanical harvester, dug it, wrapped it in burlap and a wire basket, and brought it out to me.
Correct. Most trees are dug that way, and when you do that, you chop off 80% of its root system.
That's a lot.
Sets the plant back a little bit. Now I want to show you something else. Over here, we've balanced the Stewardia with what we have is a river birch over here. This river birch, unlike the Stewardia, which was grown in the ground, was grown in a pot.
So what we have here is 100% of the root system for the tree.
Right. It's also grown in lightweight media, which is a real advantage. The homeowners can just easily take this, put it in a pickup truck, and bring it home.
You guys got it? Drop it right in the hole. That's pretty easy.
Okay, guys, let's tilt this back a little bit. Once the plant's in the hole, you got to address the circling roots here. And sometimes they can be pretty tight.
We're not being delicate with this plant at all. In fact, Peter, try this spade fork on that. We found it works really well to loosen those roots up.
Yeah.
People don't realize how important this step is.
That's right. Don't be afraid to really get in there and rough it up so you can create a lot of loose fibrous root system that's now going to head out horizontally into the new soil around it.
Right, and it guarantees a good, healthy tree.
Absolutely.
We're going to backfill this tree with topsoil mixed with compost and some starter fertilizer.
I think we did a great job with this root ball, but look how lightweight this is. With the potted trees, Roger, I think it's absolutely critical that they get staked.
We'll keep it properly staked and properly watered.
Perfect.
Thanks for all your help.
All right, thank you, Roger.
While our trees and shrubs came from Peter's nursery, our perennials came from right next door. One of the things you have to consider when you're doing a project like ours is the effect you can have on the neighbors.
Right, Roger. It's something we've been thinking about a lot because we know we're bringing in all sorts of heavy equipment and noise, so we want to be good neighbors. And one of the people most directly affected is my very next door neighbor, Sue Hickey.
Hi, Allison. Hi, Roger. How nice to have you here.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Sue, and I have to ask, how have we been doing so far?
Oh, you've been doing splendidly. It's been larky having all of this go on next door. I've enjoyed it. It's interesting every day.
Larky.
Larky, yes, it's been larky. So, let me tell you, I've lived here for 45 years. I've had a garden that's just been very bland because I don't have any sun. And now I have sun thanks to the removal of trees between me and Allison. Now that I have the sunlight, I'm going to be able to have a lot more color in my front yard. And also because I have a dear neighbor who likes to garden, I'm going to share and give her many of my plants.
One of the greatest things a gardener can do is share their plants with another gardener.
Absolutely.
Let's get the tools and go to work. These are just a beautiful chrysanthemum, but we're not going to dig them up and divide them. I'm actually going to cut and take pieces from the back side. I'm going to hand them out to you and you can put them in a pot. Now these aren't going to be very deep rooted, but they are going to be rooted. There we go.
All right, here we go.
Take the whole thing right on the shovel, go right over to the wheelbarrow, put a bunch of loam in the bottom of the bucket and then drop it in.
All righty.
Yes, you will enjoy this plant.
Good.
All right, Allison, there's a nice clump right here. I want you to dig all the way around that.
All right.
What I'm trying to do is dig the plant about 6 inches by 6 inches, and that'll give us a nice little root ball that we can control. If you go too much bigger, it'll all fall apart on us.
Got
Now,
it.
this isn't going to be too deep, just 2 or 3 inches, and we'll get all the roots on the plant. Okay, come on over this side. And I think we need one more right in front.
Got a
Okay,
rock here, I think.
That's all right. Try tipping up for me. Up, lift up on your shovel. Perfect. See what I mean about we have a nice controlled root ball
Right.
that's not going to fall apart. And that's perfect size for you to put in the pot.
All right, that looks great.
Now what I'm thinking, Sue, is to take out some of these hosta. You have 5 in a row right here.
I
So I
do.
thought if we move this one and this one, the other 2 would grow in together.
I think that's a good idea.
I'm glad you said that because I've already loosened this one up and it's ready to go. Just take your shovel and put it underneath here with me, Allison. Put the shovel right under there.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right, if you just pull up on that a little, one big swing. Okay, now what we have is one huge hosta.
We do.
Now we could plant it like that, but what I like to do in a situation like this is to divide the hosta. In order to divide the hosta, we're going to flip it over. Now we're not going to worry about this foliage because in 2 or 3 weeks we're going to have a frost and it's all going to disappear. So I'm just going to give it a little tough love here. And I want to flip it over. Now I have a nice surface to work on. Now we're going to practice a little more tough love. Some people will use a machete to do this. I've even needed a soil knife, but all we want to do is cut it in half and split it. We still have pretty good sized divisions right there. I think we should divide it again. Anyone want to give it a shot?
I'll try. I enjoy this kind of thing.
I'm going to lay it on the flat part. You just want to take the shovel and try to go through there.
Just go move
Go
your
ahead.
hand.
Move my hand. Good. Same spot.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Wedge it apart for me.
All right.
Great. Now
Now
let's go
we-
up to the wheelbarrow and put this in a pot. Now back here on our active job site, the key to successful storage is to put these plants someplace where they won't get trampled. So you take that one.
Okay.
Now the other key is to keep these plants well watered.
I can do that. Sue, thanks for all these beautiful plants.
You're welcome, Allison. I'm glad they're going to be at your house.
Down in the basement, we're going to have a big, comfortable family room that's going to get a lot of use. So on top of the concrete, we're putting down a floor that looks like wood, but it's not, Tom.
Right, it's not wood at all. It's actually a laminate It has a simulated wood grain. Feel the texture of the knots. But if you look at these two pieces right here.
Whoa.
They're identical. It's like a photograph.
Completely identical. All right, so how do we handle that?
Well, the manufacturer recommends that you open up 3 or 4 boxes at a time and take the pieces out of the box, so your pattern will be random all over the floor.
All right, you got a lot laid, and you're actually putting it down on top of a vapor barrier.
You have to put it on top of a vapor barrier, especially over concrete. Concrete's porous. The moisture will come up and get into the floor. This has a wood substrate, and it will swell the floor.
Okay. So I saw you just clicking it in. No glue, huh?
No glue. It snaps together really nice. And there's a nice pad on the back, so it takes that hard feeling of the concrete away and acts like a little cushion.
All right. So you say it's got a wood substrate. Do we have to still worry about expansion and contraction?
Absolutely. Now think about it. We've clicked all of these panels together, so it's one giant piece of flooring. All the expansion and contraction happens around the outside perimeter of the floor. So we want to keep a minimum of a 1/4 inch gap.
Which you've actually got right there.
That gap will get covered by our trim.
All right. So talk to me about cost.
It's not bad. $2.69 a square foot to buy it.
Wow, that's not bad at all. All right. So you need a hand putting the rest down?
Sure.
We have made some great progress out here in the front yard. We've got a lot of the mulch down. Now, we still have some plants and some bushes to go in the ground over on this side, but we did get the birch in. And this is a fast grower. It's going to go 3 to 4 inches a year and top out at almost 40 feet. So this tree is going to make a real statement here in the front yard, but barely the statement that's going to be made by our pergola. Mark,
We've been busy.
you sure have. This looks terrific.
Thanks. We actually made out quite well today. We got our heavy beams to run over the top of the columns. The large one is going perpendicular to the house, and another pair here leading you to the garage and to the driveway. On top of the heavy beams, we have some joists, which run perpendicular to the heavy beams.
And then you've got another layer on top of that.
Right, we've got some 2x2 lath work up there, which really ties the whole structure together. It also gives you something if you wanted to climb something on top of this.
Well, we are actually going to have a big hardy vine up there, so that'll be nice to have it have something to grab onto.
Great.
Now, what about maintenance? Shouldn't be too bad, right? Because we've got solid PVC, white all the way through.
That's right. It's white all the way through. We have pre-painted this with a latex paint.
Oh, you painted it.
We did. It gives it a nice crisp look, but the nice thing about that is because the material doesn't absorb any moisture, the paint won't fail on it.
So we could paint it any color we want.
Exactly.
All right, Mark, thank you for all your help. We
Thanks,
really
Kevin.
appreciate it.
Sure.
Well, we've got the bushes in the ground over here on the left side, and then it is a carpet of grass, and that will complete the transformation out here in the front yard. But we still have got a lot of work left to do inside, which we'll cover over the next 2 shows. So, until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor for This Old House.